This is what it was like before I went to prison, what it was like during my time in prison, and what it's like now. I know I look like Barbie, sort of, but even Barbies go to prison if they're not careful. So before I went to prison, I had a heroin addict father that I was born with. My mom was an alcoholic. She's doing great today, just gotta say. She had a rough life too, and had me super young. She was only 17 when she had me. Her and my dad, she told me, got married when they were 15, ran away to Utah, and got married. My dad did 2 years in Vietnam, I was told. And I was born. And when I was 5, he had been back a couple years, I believe. And when I was 5, though, it was the last time I saw him. I don't remember it, but that's what I was told. And when I got older, I was told to not find him when I wanted to find him. I was told that he was not a good person. I don't know if it was after he got back from the service or if he was like this before, but I was told he was a heroin addict. He was a bad person, a very, very bad person. And that I should not look for him. But of course, I don't always do what I'm told. And I did look for him a bit, never found him. Found information later after he was passed away, but I never found him. So I never saw him after the age of 5. And that was a big owie of mine that I had a really, really difficult time letting go of. And as I grew up, so I became addicted to alcohol and drugs when I was super young. I remember starting to sneak and drink when I was like 10-ish. So bringing it to school, just sneaking it wherever I could, have alcohol with me. And then other things too. And started doing other drugs too. So I always drank, always used this when I was young. And so I was not a happy camper. My mom was a single mom. She had a super, super tough life too. And I was always with her. So she never left me, except she worked a lot. She had to support me. So, and she partied a lot too. And that's all she knew. She grew up with parents that were a little off too. They had problems too. So there's no one to blame. It just is. Is that unfortunate? I don't know. Maybe. Or is it fortunate? Maybe. Because today, I love sobriety because of what I went through. So I wouldn't be into that if that's not what I went through before. If I didn't experience that pain of addiction and alcoholism, then I wouldn't love sobriety so much. I wouldn't have had the need for it. So I'm grateful for the experience. And then I never dreamed of working in prison or going to prison. However, when I got sober, clean and sober, in 1990 was the first time, because I had hit a bottom with drugs and alcohol and wanted to die. I was only 20 years old, and I got into recovery and loved it. It was the first time I ever felt like I fit somewhere, and there were people there that really, really care. My family cares, but I couldn't feel it. You got to feel it to heal it. So fast forward 5 years in recovery, 5 years, and my dream is to work in recovery and give it back, is what is the normal human response Once you get through something, you want to help other people heal too. That's what we're supposed to do. So my dream was to work in recovery and help other women, and a prison job was in the paper. And my stepdad at the time said, you need to apply for that. So I ended up applying for that job and working in prison. And I started in prison in the very first substance abuse program for women in Norco, California. And it was called Weldon House Therapeutic Community. I love, love, love that company. If they're still around, I don't even know. Their hub was in San Francisco, but I worked for them in Norco, California at CRC State Prison. And it was the very first in substance abuse recovery program for women, in prison substance abuse program for women. It was so cool. I didn't get hired as a counselor, but got hired as an intake therapist, and then finished my time there as a transition case manager. So I was never a counselor because I didn't have experience. But that's where I met a female prison guard that showed me the ropes of a prison guard, and I decided to sign up for that because it was much more pay. And thankfully, I could get into that. I had not ruined my record yet. So fast forward, that's how I got to prison, was I met a female prison guard while I was working in a recovery program, and I decided to put that uniform on. Oh boy, was I in for, I was really, really, really naive to what prison is all about. However, I did 22 years in state prison as a correctional officer, and I went through the ringer. I went to hell and back, over and over and over and over and over. That is the devil's playground. It is the most evil, yet the most growth-inducing experience. I would say it molded me in ways that I'm super grateful for. It was painful. It was everything. And that's how I ended up being 22 years as a prison guard. During my time there, it was extremely difficult, and it really toughened me up. It gave me a lot of insight on what life really could be like if you don't have structure, if you don't have values, if you don't pay attention, if you don't focus, if you don't hold to your word. You need structure. You need people. We need each other. Weakness in prison can get you killed or someone else killed. Today, I am retired a little over 2 years and grateful for what it gave me. Today, I'm 19 years sober. I'm retired from 22 years in prison, and I sponsor other women, and I love it. Our squad has 8 women right now. It varies and it flows, and I found the more authentic I am, the more that I just share my experience, strength, and hope, focus on love and tolerance. I just focus on being the best me, and that I can help women too. It's not an act. It's not a show. It's not about what I can do. It's not about what I wear. It is about how I care. To help someone, you just gotta care. You just need to be there. You don't have to have any special experience. You don't have to have a certification to help someone. You just gotta be authentically you and care to be there. You don't have to have any special abilities. You don't need accolades or things to prove anything. People can feel if you're authentic and you're true. People can tell by what you do. We all make mistakes. I've made massive mistakes. There's a little bit of good in the worst of us. There's a little bit of bad in the best of us. every human being is a child of God and is worthy of love, respect, and kindness. You got to give it to live it.